Hello and welcome back. I'm Dr. Lori Williams. Today I want to talk to you about how to use your emotional triggers as a catalyst for healing. So essentially what an emotional trigger is when an experience or person outside of you creates some sort of emotional response from you. Now, what's happening is that person or that experience isn't necessarily creating that emotion. You are responding through that emotion. So this may sound a little counterproductive, but I want you to hear me out. This is the exact step-by-step process that I take myself and my clients through to recognize where they're giving their power away. And essentially that's what an emotional trigger is. If you're emotionally triggered by something or someone else outside of you, it's because you're giving your power away to the situation. So ultimately what you want to do is you want to recognize what's your fault in this. Like I said, I know this might sound counterproductive, but you're not figuring this out from a place of blame or shaming yourself or even judgment. It's from a place of you need to understand where your responsibility in this dynamic, whether it's through an experience or a relationship, that you are maybe investing too much of yourself, or you aren't, if you're taking care of one person's needs, but they're only taking care of their needs, there's nobody that's taking care of you. So you got to recognize that this responsibility does lay on you. And why this is so powerful is because once you figure out what your responsibility is throughout this emotional trigger, you can start to put things in place and change your behavior so that you're not going to be triggered anymore by this person or experience. You can literally take the power back that you have been giving to this person or experience, and you can, take that giant step back and still have a relationship with somebody. Taking your power back from the relationship doesn't mean that the relationship has to end. It just means that, maybe you're not giving so much of yourself. Maybe you're not quite so vulnerable. Maybe you're not investing like the time and the energy. Especially for one-sided relationships, if they're not invested in the relationship and you're like overly invested into the relationship, then that's your responsibility that you're being overly invested. So it's okay to say, hey, you know what? I'm just as worthy of being shown that you want to be part of this relationship as much as I'm showing you that I want to be part of this relationship. And if they're not reciprocating that, then that becomes a them issue. And that's not up to you. But what happens, unfortunately, in that kind of a situation is we tend to want to prove ourselves in some way, of like prove our worthiness or prove our value in some way. So we chase people, we chase experiences that we can, essentially we're going to give our power away again. Every single time that you're giving your power away by chasing somebody or chasing experiences or like proving your worth, trying to prove your worth or trying to prove your value, essentially what you're doing in giving your power away is leaving yourself wide open to recognizing that you're not valuable. You don't feel like you're valuable enough. In chasing other people's opinions of you and needing that validation from people outside of you, it's actually something that's within you that you're lacking. It's not somebody else's validation that you need, it's your own. So once you figure out what your responsibility is in the situation, you can then figure out what it is, how you're giving your power away. And then you can begin to figure out why you're giving your power away, and then take the steps to bring that back to yourself. And that's where the healing happens, is when you bring it back to yourself. I kind of jokingly, but I actually mean this, tell my clients, the more you can blame yourself for stuff, but not blame, but the more you can take responsibility for stuff, the more you take responsibility for everything in your life, you're going to be the most healed person in the world. Healing starts with the recognizing. And if you're just constantly putting off oh, that person's a narcissist, or oh, that person's this, and you're not actually taking responsibility for yourself, you're doing yourself a huge disservice, and you're not actually even healing. You need to find the responsibility. You need to find where you're giving your power away, and then take the steps to stop doing that. Because at the end of the day, the only person that it's hurting is you. And the other person isn't necessarily hurting you, but your response to them not measuring up to what it is that you want is what's hurting you. And this realization changes everything. You now have 100% of the ability to internalize everything, work on yourself, take the steps that you need to in that relationship or in that experience to make sure that you are being valued, that you are validating yourself. You don't need anybody else's validation, that you are accepting yourself, because it's not about anybody else doing that for you. This is all internal work that needs to happen. Your power, holding on to your power and not giving it away, is one of the most beautiful parts of healing yourself. And that's why this step-by-step process is so effective. It is a little bit hard when you first start to be able to distinguish between taking responsibility and blaming and shaming and, you know, like victimizing yourself. It is hard to get out of that frame of mind, because as human beings, that's what we tend to do. But in recognizing where your responsibility is actually the first step in taking your power back. We all need to hold on to our own power. We are our own biggest cheerleaders, and your healing deeply begins when you can look at that and start to take the actions necessary to help yourself to heal. That's a game changer. It's a life changer. And that's essentially what healing is all about, is feeling through the things that come up. And emotional triggers, like I said, they're just messengers. Very, very valuable messengers, but still messengers nonetheless. I hope this step-by-step process has helped you. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free to comment them below. And if you need any further help or support going through this, I am more than happy to help you. You can reach out to me anytime. And I thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you back here next time.